Hi everyone. Oh, goodness gracious people. There's just a lot going on here. I almost just said good morning. We just got back from Dairy Queen. Is Dairy Queen a Midwest thing? I've been going to Dairy Queen my whole life. Is that an everywhere thing? Raise your hand if you don't know what Dairy Queen is. Okay. Dairy Queen is ice cream, blizzards. So good. It is about 90 degrees here today and humid as all heck. We've basically been outside all day doing stuff and working and all the things, managing chaos. And at 8:30, or wait, no, it's 8:11 right now. So I'd say like 7:45. Sawyer came and sat next to me and he like hit my leg, like slapped my leg. He's like, you know what sounds good? Dairy Queen. And I looked at him and I was like, it so does. So then we got Harbor in. Harbor is my most joyful child, and you could get him to do anything. Anything, it doesn't matter. Which is why I'm afraid that he will jump off a cliff because someone tells him to. But, so then we got Winnie in, and the hard sell was Dad. So Jamie walked over and I said, who do you love the most right now out of all of us? And he looked at me and he's like, definitely Winnie. So Winnie's like, can we have ice cream? Sold. Sucker. Ice cream it was. It was great. I actually usually don't get ice cream because it hurts my tummy. I usually just get a Diet Coke. But I actually did get ice cream today. I got a hot fudge sundae. Harbor got the ultimate cookie blizzard. Winnie got a cookie dough blizzard. Sawyer got a cherry dip cone, and so did Dad. We have 3 Dairy Queens. Well, actually, so our Dairy Queen, we only have one in Woodbury, and it is the busiest place in the whole city. I would love to know if it's like the highest grossing Dairy Queen, because you go there and it's like you're like 20th in line. And it's just part of the experience. And Winnie's like, she's so sweet. She goes, when we go in, I'm going to sit by you. And I'm like, honey, we're not going in. We're going to go through the drive-thru. And she's like, why? And Sawyer's like, because you didn't wear pants. She did not want to get dressed. So she did not. So we ate in the car. What a great experience. My 2 boys always get cherry dip cones. They are really good. Just like a cherry dipped dilly bar. So good. Hi everyone. Cooper is at my mom's. He went there yesterday and had a sleepover, and he's staying tonight too. He has been FaceTiming us. No, Trish, no. So Trish is referring to my videos, all videos on Facebook are just not being shown for whatever reason. They're just kind of getting hidden. So the more comments, the better. So even if you are just a lurker and you're just watching, even if you don't like me, just say hi. Just say hi. And, it helps, this video get shown. So it's hard. My whole mission is to help people despite how it may appear. I always say this, I don't want any mom or dad to ever feel as alone as I did in the beginning. And I built this audience of 1.1 million people, which is amazing because there was a period of time when I felt like we were the only family who had a child with autism. We knew no one else. And there was a period of time when it felt like no one was going to know who Cooper was. And I don't mean on this level, but I mean, even in our real life, it just felt like we were really, really isolated. And so that kid proves me wrong all the time. We have this big audience, and I don't get to reach him anymore. I don't know why. It makes me sad. You know, it's like my blood, sweat, and tears. But what I've noticed is the more comments, the more people get to see it. So it gets pushed out farther. And the threshold that I've seen is like 1,000 comments, which is typically easy to get to. Yeah, he FaceTimes us all the time. And it's funny, if he doesn't FaceTime, he'll just call, which Cooper did not understand and or care about a phone until he was 12. Thank you, Brenda. So Cooper is 13 now. He got this phone on his 13th, well, right after his 13th birthday, because for Christmas he turned 13 December 6th, and then he got this phone. And before this phone, he did not understand or care, or whatever the reason. He would never, look at a FaceTime. He would never interact with the phone. Now he will call. But so he doesn't have words. And so, it's great. Someone keeps giving me angry faces. Every time you give me an angry face, I get $5 from Zuckerberg. Whoop, whoop. 5, 10, 15, 20. That's what my friend Adrian always tells me to say. So, so Jamie today was like, Cooper called me this morning, and he's like, but I think it was a butt dial or something because he didn't say anything. And I was like, Jamie, you have to say, hi, buddy. Can you say hi? And then he'll go, hi. And I'm like, that's how you know he's listening. He just doesn't, he isn't able to say the word unprompted. And so then I'll usually talk to him for like a minute. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm doing this. We're doing this. And then I'll be like, okay, mom's going to go. Say bye. And he's like, bye. Click. There's no long goodbyes. Click. It's fun though. It means he's thinking about us, and that, it's these little touch points that you just long for when you have a child who's non-speaking. I love you, and good night, hopes and dreams and funny stories, and a phone call. A phone call. I know, it's so simple. Like, I just, silence in the car. I was recently thinking about a saying that I used to say, the silence is deafening. Silence can be really loud at times. I know that sounds so bizarre, but it's really, it's like, tell me what's going on in that beautiful head, Cooper. Tell me everything in your mind. Yeah. So I have just a couple of stories for you. I want to tell you this bike story first because I'm really excited. So, true story, when Cooper was 2.5 years old, I had a daycare provider walk me out to my car. I talk about this in my book at length, and I bring it up all the time. And I bring it up all the time because it impacted me so much. It broke me, and then it fueled me, and I carry it with me. So she followed me out to my car, and Cooper was not diagnosed yet. He was 2.5, but we were doing speech therapy, occupational therapy, early intervention. We knew something was going on. We were doing it all. And I had buckled Cooper in his car seat. I had put Sawyer in his car seat. And she followed me to my car, and she said, I had my dad evaluate your son when he was here, and there's something really wrong with him. Which, hello, a whole bunch of inappropriate and not okay. Like, don't evaluate my son when I'm not there or without my consent. Weird. And she just unloaded on me how I wasn't doing enough and I wasn't doing the things he needed, which is entirely untrue. And then she went on to tell me that Cooper would never make a friend, he would never talk, and he would never ride a bike. Why she picked those three things, I don't know. And for the first time in my life, oh yeah, the angry face thing is a joke. It's a joke. I don't usually get angry faces, but someone's loving it tonight. So I cried the whole entire way home. And I walked in the house and I laid on my bathroom floor on the tile with my cheek on the tile, and I just cried. I cried Friday night and Saturday and Sunday, and Jamie brought the boys there on Monday, and then she called me and apologized, and it broke me. It broke me and it shattered me into 1 million pieces, because I had this 2.5-year-old that I knew something was going on, and I don't know why she did that to me. There's something that I realized really quickly. No, that's not true. There's something I realized after a period of time, was that, and I'm going to say this like in the most gentlest way, Cooper is still going to have a great life, even if he doesn't talk, ride a bike, or have a best friend. I didn't know that, because before I had Cooper, I thought that every person grows up and gets their license and goes to prom and gets a job and has a girlfriend or a boyfriend and then goes to college and gets married. And I'm just, paraphrasing. And if you don't do those things, then actually, wait, I thought everyone did those things. I didn't know that there were different paths in life, because I didn't know anyone with a disability like Cooper. And once I realized that, my life got a whole lot better. Cooper's exactly who he's supposed to be, and, doesn't make, it's still hard. I'm still sad sometimes, but it was just, of all the things said to me in 13 years, that was the most powerful one. So the reason I'm telling you that is because as a 7th grader, Cooper started riding a 3-wheeled trike, at school. And when they put it in his IEP for OT and gym, adaptive phy ed, we were like, have fun. Have fun. Cooper does not like physical activity. He does not like being outdoors. He doesn't like hot or cold, or the elements. And he started loving it. And he would choose it for choice time. And he would ride his bike before work and doing things. And he'd ride around the school. And when it was the days I'd pick him up, he'd ride out to meet me. And it was just, if you have a child like my son, I can count on one hand the number of things he loves to do. Truly. Finding activities that he wants to do is super hard. It takes a lot to motivate him. It takes a lot to get him to do anything. And we're a family of 6. We have 4 other kids. We want to do stuff. We want to hike and camp and bike and do all these things. And when you have a member that is unable physically, unwilling, it's hard. And it's like, who do you accommodate? 3 or 1? All. So we split up, or we get a babysitter, or so it's it's the secret of our families, is we're always juggling and we're trying to make it work. And so he rides a bike. In the state of Minnesota, we have what's called a waiver. I'm not going to get into that too deeply, but we have a waiver for Cooper, and it covers certain things for him, like therapies and camps and a bike. So we ordered him a bike. This was probably maybe 6 months ago, 5, no, less than that. We ordered him a bike, and it was insanely expensive. So ridiculously overpriced. $2,500 for a bike. Ridiculous. The only reason we could afford it is because it was on his waiver. But it just shows you how prices are gouged when families like ours need things. It's another part of this world. So we get the bike, and it came in a box like this big. Like this big. And we put it together, and my husband put it together, and he's like, Kate, this thing is a piece of junk. He's like, it is a piece of junk. And so I was like feeling really bad because it's a big deal. We were so excited. The waiver paid so much money for it. You know, the time and effort to get it. Like, there were so many, like, we had to get a letter of approval from his OT. We had to get it approved by a social worker, get it modified in his budget. It was like, it took forever. So he wrote it, and he just didn't like it. And I shared a couple of videos, and I got so much feedback. It was like, we want to get this bike for our kid. Tell us about it. So I didn't share. I didn't share where we got it because I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel like it was the right thing to share. It wasn't right. And so I dove in to finding a different bike. Like, I went to like Schwinn and, you know, different companies and stuff to try and find one. My dad, who's in his 80s, he had a stroke 4 years ago, and he has a 3-wheel trike now, and 3-wheel bike, I guess. And he told me to try the brand that he got. And I don't want to say it wrong. Is it Viribus? I thought maybe it was Viribus, but is it Viribus? So I ordered it. We got it put together, and oh my gosh, this one was like $300. We bought it. Maybe it was $325. And it is awesome. It has a huge basket on the back, like super, super durable, super firm. The wide wheels, perfect handlebars, wide seat. It has a bell. So I'm super, super excited. He will be home tomorrow, so I cannot wait for him to see his new bike. I will make sure I share it with you. If anyone wants a link, I don't have it on me right now. I can put it to the one that we got. It is 100 times better than the one that was $2,500. Yep, it has handbrakes. Oh, wait, I need to get the handle over the back with the brake. Oh, I don't know what that means, Tiffany. I guess I don't know the answer. I don't know. But yeah, I'm super, super excited. It's kind of a big deal. It's just a really big deal. So I can share a link, and then I'll share it tomorrow too, so you can all see it. But when I find something that works, I want to make sure I push it out there. And I was diligent. I took my time. I did my research. I think we found it. So I'm very excited for that. And we can all go biking as a family. But we have to go somewhere where we're not by cars. We have to be very, very safe. I'm not going to say the waiver bike brand. I'm just not. I don't want to have any bad. I don't want to. But I will tell you, it was like, if you search like medical trike or whatever, like, it comes up. And we thought it was going to be so nice. Arseny. Well, and we did not get an electric bike. So it was funny because now when you search bikes, they're all electric, which awesome, great. That's not right for him. He does not need that. No. Second thing I wanted to say, because I have like 3 things. So that was number 1. The second thing I wanted to say, and they're both kind of a little heavier. Now my mind just went blank. What was the second thing I wanted to say? Oh, so, so Heather, we're giving away, a Wego. So it's not a tandem bicycle, but it's where the kid sits in front of you. It's Weego. a friend gifted it to us. It's for children with disabilities specifically, I think. And then we're gonna give it to someone else because Cooper's grown out of it. But the child sits in the front, like, and it's hard to explain if you just search it. It was really a really great thing for him when he was smaller. He's just too big now. Too big for it. I mean, he's bigger than me. So, okay. So the second thing I wanted to say was, I'm always surprised by the internet. I am truly always surprised. So the first thing I want to say is, we can't raise our children in the world that we grew up in. We can't raise them the same way that we were raised because that world no longer exists. I'm not claiming that quote because I think it's amazing. I'm just saying it back. Like, you know, I grew up in the woods making forts, and I was outside all day long, and I drank from the hose, you know, whatever. The world is different now. So I think that one of the most challenging things I think in our world is navigating technology. And I don't think that I can be the only person navigating this. But whenever I share it, people come down on me with pitchforks and fire on sticks, torches, as if I am like the devil. So our second son has a cell phone. Okay. So, you know, we agonized over it about whether or not to get our son a cell phone. And when I say a cell phone, he's not on social media. I want to be clear. None of my children are on social media. We haven't even had a request to be on social media. We're not TikToking it over here. We're just not. But Sawyer is in sports 5 days a week, whatever it ends up being. We're kind of on a lull right now. And he is at different arenas and at different sporting events and doing things. And we needed for him to have a way to contact us. And we tried, you know, the watches, which were fine until they weren't. So the watches are good for kids. There's like what's the name of the one? There's like what's the name of the one? Gizmo. We had a Gizmo and it got broke on Sawyer's bike. He fell off his bike and broke it. We liked the Gizmo, but we wanted him to have a phone, and we agonized over it and talked about it and all the different parts. When I was in high school, there were no cell phones. I got my first cell phone at 18. It was I've heard people say Nokia, whatever. I went and bought it myself. I'll never forget it. It was this big, little antenna, and there was this game on it, like this worm game. It was amazing. I got it through the Polk Burnett Electric Company, my first cell phone. But before that, when I was at sports and I needed, or a friend's house, does anyone remember this? We used to call collect. You'd say your name, and then when you'd hang up, and then your parents would know to come get you. That's how it was done. They would never accept the call because then it would cost them money. So you just called collect and then you hung up. And so I don't think there's even pay phones anymore. So you need a cell phone. But we agonized over it, and I think we ultimately made the right decision. But I did a little story today about how, and again, I want to brag on my kid. I want to brag on my kid. My kid is really active. He's in hockey and baseball. His preferred activity is fishing, boating, kayaking, swimming. He's not a video game kid. He's not, and I'm not judging anyone that is. I'm just telling you him. He's not on a computer or Switch or any of that. He went through a period where he played Fortnite and then he quit. So, you know what? We think we've raised a pretty well-rounded kid. But we will notice that if he is on his phone too much, his attitude gets real sassy. His nickname is Sauce. Sassy Sauce. Sassy Saucy. And when that happens, we're like, you're done. You're done. And so we take it away, and we'll take it away for about a week. Hi, Sarah. We'll take it away for about a week. His attitude will go back to normal. And then when he goes to a sporting event, he will take his phone. Anyhow, I just talked about this. And I just said, do any other parents notice that if your kids have too much screen time, their attitudes can change? And like, here's the interesting thing. And I, in no way am being ageist. I'm just telling you what I saw. All the responses that were like, yes, we see it with our kids too. The moms all seem to be my age. The people that like came for me with pitchforks and torches all seem to be my mom's age. And so my opening sentence was, we can't raise our kids like we were raised, because that world no longer exists. We live in a different world, and we're doing everything to raise good kids. Trust me, we're not trying to destroy him. It's just funny. It's funny. And like, it just makes me like feel so bad. Like I got like a bunch of messages that were just like super aggressive. Like, you're destroying your child. And I'm like, really? Already? He's not on social media and he doesn't play games on his phone. I would say, just because he doesn't have any. Oh, I guess he does have a baseball game. He does have a baseball game. He likes YouTube and Netflix. Yeah. Yeah, so I just want to speak out of both sides of my mouth. I think technology is exhausting and it's too much. Technology can be good when done correctly. So I just want to speak out of both sides. But anyhow, I guess if I am the only one whose child has screen time. Oh, no, Sawyer, there's no cell phones at his school. Sawyer goes to a Catholic school and there's no cell phones at school. But yeah, I just like to always be the first one that says, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm doing my best. Parenting is hard. I make mistakes a lot. I don't think there's cell phones allowed at school. I only know the school that my kids go to, so I'm not speaking for anyone else. It's just there's no cell phones at Sawyer School. And Cooper does not. Cooper, oh my gosh, Cooper's so funny. Cooper plugs in everything before he leaves. He is so meticulous about plugging in his things so they're charged when he gets home. He cracks me up. He's just, and this is the kid who, for years of his life, he would, if his like kid's Kindle died, he would throw it in the woods, out the car window. He would throw it anywhere. We would lose them. We wouldn't find them. He wouldn't be able to tell us. They'd be hidden around our house. Oh gosh, he would forget them at a hotel and just couldn't tell us. Now, everything is plugged in. Everything is put away perfectly. So funny. So funny. Okay. I have a second controversial topic. I know I'm pushing the limits today. And again, can everyone just like say hi? Could all 576 of you people just say hi? Just so we can get this video in the algorithm. So I saw a post recently, and it said something like, it was in the social media space, or in the special needs parenting space. And it said, this was a while ago, not today. It was like, my autistic child is perfect. They're a saint. And I've been noticing this trend of people saying this about individuals with disabilities. And I only know Cooper. And it's kind of jarring. Like, I worry so much about people thinking Cooper is a saint or deserves special treatment. Or another one I saw recently said something like, I've never been embarrassed of my autistic child. And I wrote about this today on my newsletter because I read about it and I was like, okay, I'm the worst mom ever, apparently, because all of my children have embarrassed me at one time or another. Oh, Bryce, I saw your email. I'll answer it tomorrow. I have been out of commission for about a week now with some other things. I'm a little bit behind, so I will answer that tomorrow. So I just want to share some stories. We brought Cooper to one of Sawyer's playoff hockey games. And we don't usually bring Sawyer to hockey or Cooper to hockey games because it's really loud in there. Ice rinks have a funny smell and a funny sound and funny lighting. And he just does not do well at hockey. He can do better at outdoor baseball games, but hockey just isn't working. And so this was a couple winters ago. We had to all be at Sawyer's hockey game. It was so important to us. And so we're there, and Cooper, he lays out on the bleachers, which is fine. That doesn't matter. But he started eating the gum, like the chewed gum on the bleachers. And the second I saw it, obviously, like, my first reaction was to stop it. Obviously. And so, but I know Cooper, that if I go too fast, I'm going to spook him and he's going to eat faster. And he started manically laughing and just shoving garbage and stuff in his mouth. And everyone was staring and people were commenting, and I couldn't get him to stop. And I felt like crying and I wanted to sob. And I was humiliated for him. And it was so awful. And it took us a while to get him to stop and get it out of his mouth. And I will tell you, I was just mortified. It was mortifying. Yeah. I will tell you another story that we went through where Cooper, we were doing a med change and he did some things with his pants and pulled his pants down at a Miracle League game. And the team that was volunteering was the same age as him. It was 13U baseball boys. So if Cooper, in a different world, if he was neurotypical and playing baseball, he would have been on their team. And as you know, baseball is a pretty big thing in our family. It's just an important part of our life. And I know Jamie, who my husband, his dad, who was a baseball pitcher in college, would have loved to play baseball with Cooper. And that life had a different way of happening. But so, Cooper, disability is not always perfect, and it's not always socially correct. And he pulled his pants down and he ran, and everyone was staring and laughing. And it broke me. Like, it broke me. If you were my friends, if you were here and I was there with my friends, they know. Peyton's mom knows, because she was next to me. It just broke me. And so I read this post about how, like, I've never, ever been embarrassed of my autistic child. He's perfect. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, am I a monster? But the thing is, I just wanted to share this with everyone. Cooper's not perfect. And I'm not perfect. I'm human. And here comes my daughter up to bed. Dad's bringing her to bed.
Ready to go? Brush your teeth first. Yep,
but I just think that we're setting wowzers, girlfriend. I think we're setting these parents of newly diagnosed kids just up for failure if they think that everything has to be perfect. And I'll tell you, as Cooper's getting older, he doesn't understand social norms. He doesn't understand them. And I don't know if he ever will. I truly don't know. I don't know if he'll ever understand them. We're working on it. We're working on it. Every single day we're working on it. I don't see it coming any yet. I haven't seen any growth in that area. But I guess I just want to say, I don't know. We're not special. Like, I'm not a saint. I get embarrassed and I get mad and I get sad and I get frustrated, and I just want to, like, reach through and, like, hug you and just be like, I saw a reel today that I sent to my two friends, Carrie and Adrian. I about died. It was like this mom, and she was like doing that blinking reel, you know? And it said, your son's autistic. And then the next sentence was, and I love it more than anything else in this world. And I was like, you guys, Cooper is the most amazing person ever. But his autism is hard. And he's carrying that, and he is struggling, and he can't communicate, and he's vulnerable, and he could be hurt, and the world is scary, and people are mean. And if I could make his life easier at any second, I would do it. I would give my arm. I would give anything. I would give anything to take away his struggles. I just don't understand. And so, like, my two friends, my two autism mom friends, the ones I'm writing the book with, we were talking about this reel. We were, like, texting back and forth about it, you know, and it's like, why are you giving this misconception to these parents that are getting this diagnosis, and they're terrified? Like, they're so scared. And it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be mad and sad. It's okay to, I don't know. And maybe it is perfect for them. But I'll tell you, parenting's hard. Like, do you know that one time Sawyer and I were in a dressing room, and we walked out, and he was like 4. And he's like, why is that fat lady wearing that shirt? And she, like, looked at me, and I was like, oh my God. It's like the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And, you know, I was embarrassed. My cheeks are still red from that. Do you know, one time I was in a bathroom. We were waiting in a hospital waiting room back in Duluth, Minnesota. Cooper used to get speech at St. Luke's Hospital. And it was a waiting room, and there was a bathroom that opened up into the waiting room, and then the treatment rooms. And I had unbelievable IBS. I was so sick. And Cooper was a runner, and I had to hold him physically by the arm while I went to the bathroom because he would run on me. This is a true story on my amazing Grandma Vicky's grave. This is a true story. And he twisted out of his sweatshirt that I was holding onto his arm, and I was on the toilet, and he opened the door and ran, and I made eye contact with a man sitting in the waiting room. And I'm not lying. I said, "Can you shut the door for me while I finish?" Meanwhile, Cooper was on down the hallway on the elevator. I was embarrassed. Yeah, I have so many stories like that. We should do a night of just stories of things that have happened to me that would make most people cry. I guess I just want to say parenting is hard. I'm doing my best with technology. Norma, we're just taking the summer off. Our friend Adrienne is the busiest person on the planet, so we can blame her. But we will be back with Trifecta soon. And what else do I want to say? Cooper's not a saint. I am not special. I have been angry. I have been sad. I've been embarrassed. I've cried. I've laughed. I felt lucky. I felt slighted. I felt all of it. And I think where we get in trouble, and I have said this for years, where we get in trouble is when we start telling people how they should feel. And so I just want you to know, whatever you're feeling, that's what you're feeling. I went through I heard the most amazing thing about grief today. So I was listening to, do you guys know who Mel Robbins is? I've recently fell in love with Mel Robbins' podcast. And she had this lady on today who I've seen all over Instagram. Is it Ramirna? She's like a narcissistic expert. And is that gonna work? No. She's like I heard the most unbelievable. I'm gonna go back and listen. The podcast was like dealing with challenging people. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Life-changing. I immediately texted to like all my people. If you want a good podcast. Wow. But what I was going to say is I have started talking about grief. I'm not going to pretend that I don't have grief. Dr. Ramani. Yes, Cheryl, that's it. Thank you. I carry my grief in my pocket, and I will carry my grief forever. And I ran from it for a really long time, and I pretended I didn't have grief because the internet told me I shouldn't be sad, that autism is amazing, and I should be thankful I have a child, and I should be happy with what I have, and I'm awful for being sad. And I pretended I wasn't for a long time. And then I hit rock bottom because I was lying to myself and pretending. And you can only pretend for so long. And I started saying things like, I'm heartbroken that my son doesn't talk. And I'm really scared about the future. And this is so much harder than I thought it was going to be. And there's no help. There's no help. If you are outside of our world and you think that, and I used to have misconceptions. I used to think that handouts were available and people, there was so much help. There's no help. We see our social worker once a year for 20 minutes. There's no help. So, and no one can, unless you live it, you can't imagine what our life is like. And so if you see me spoiling my other children, or if you see me doing something that you wouldn't do, you don't know their life. And I don't share. I share with my supporters. That I share that link. I share a lot with my supporters. I tell them about the screaming and broken lamps and meltdowns. I share with them because I feel safe over there. So if you're looking for a group, seriously, when I say it's the most supportive group, come join. Just try it out for a month. It's really wonderful. You can just say what you're scared of and you will get people that say, me too. Oh, thank you, Joy, it is. But unless you live it, you have no idea. But here's the funny, ironic part. Once I accepted my grief, really, once I learned what it was, learned to identify it, learned to talk about it, learned to share about it, I found joy. I found joy in the other people, all these people. I found the most amazing kids ever, like ever. I started laughing more. I started, Karen, it's called Coops Troops. I pinned a link at the top. I started crying when I needed to cry. I had a mom text me today. Her son is the same age as Cooper. We live in the same city. We don't see each other all that often, but we do share. She read my newsletter today and she texted me and she goes, I'm so scared. And I'm like, so am I. And I said, we were texting back and forth. And I'm like, you know what we got to do? We got to build a house for our kids. And we have to start preparing for the future, Ryan and Cooper, and do this and build it. And we have to. It gives me goosebumps. You know, and like before I accepted my grief, and it's grief, I couldn't talk about that. Like I couldn't talk about it. I could not. And I'm not ready to put pen to paper. Like I will say to you, I'm keeping Cooper with me forever. But I know it's not possible. Because Cooper's going to live longer than me. And, yeah, it's just, I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress. Oh, Dorothy, I'm so glad you joined. Okay, I'm going to hop off. I will share a link to the bike. I will pop off. As soon as I get off, I'll share a link. And then if you go look at my story, click on my story, you can see the bike. We haven't given it to him yet. He's not getting it till tomorrow. But I'm so excited. And I think it's going to be great. Okay. Good night, everyone. Thanks for chatting. And remember, if you watch this later, say hi. Just say hi. Okay.